You ready for this? Okay. Hi, my name is Mark Howell. I am 36 years old. I was diagnosed with stage 4 melanoma in 2012, 2 short weeks after my oldest born son, Gabriel, here was born. So before cancer, we led a pretty normal life. My wife and I were married in 2010, so we've been married for about 2 years, and no prior health issues. Was a former athlete once upon a time, and was just a soccer coach now at Brighton High School and through some club teams, and just staying busy working the family business, and just a normal guy trying to make his mark on the world, and just a young couple. In October of 2012, as we were getting ready to have Gabriel, I started to have a lot of abdominal pain, and no other symptoms, nothing else really going on, just a lot of abdominal pain, and it just progressively got worse. And like a typical stubborn guy, I prolonged going to the doctor to get some help, and eventually, right after he was born, went in and had the doctor check me out, send me in for some tests, and it turns out that they found an 18-pound tumor attached to my pancreas. I didn't have a primary care doctor at the time, so it was a little bit of an unknown situation in terms of I just found a doctor. I went in, and they ran a bunch of tests. They didn't have really a prior history of anything, so I didn't have anything to really compare it to, and it was a new doctor. And he's like, hey, you have this this large tumor attached to your pancreas. You need to get a consult with a surgical oncologist and see what the next best steps would be. And so I asked him for a recommendation, because obviously I didn't have one, and he literally just grabbed a sheet out of his little medical phone book and handed me the sheet, and was like, call one of these guys. And I asked him if they were any good, and I'll never forget his response was, they're in your network. I was like, okay, well, I'm not very confident with that. That's all I got. I don't know anything about him. So we met with him. He ran a bunch of tests, did a biopsy, and it came back. They were not sure what kind of cancer it was at first, so they didn't really know how to address it, but they knew it was a large aggressive tumor inside. Like I said, an 18-pound tumor, which was kind of unheard of internally. So they wanted to get in there and see if they could take it out while I was still, young and overall healthy and that type of thing. And so we planned on what was called a Whipple procedure, with taking out a lot of parts, taking out, a large tumor of that size. That was almost the biggest organ in my body at the time. And so went in for about an 18-hour Hail Mary surgery, and so many things had to be planned perfectly by my surgical oncologist. It really kept us peaceful and hopeful, and he told us just enough so we knew the severity of the issue, but not enough to where we would lose hope and understand that it's probable I won't make it through the surgery. We kind of just had like, oh, okay, that's a big surgery, but Mark's good. So that happened to me. Was we had some large vein reconstruction that they had to do on the fly, and they didn't know how in depth it was going to be beforehand. And by the grace of God, they went in, and essentially Dr. Idians paused the whole surgery, went and got the vascular surgeon. The vascular surgeon was flipping out to him, my family. This is a complete Hail Mary. This is never going to work. He's never going to make it. And luckily it held at least long enough to get me through the night and through the surgery. And so many little minor miracles that happened along the way, when looking back, you can look under the microscope and say, wow, so many things had to go perfectly in order for me to even be here. So timeline-wise, October 2012, diagnosed with an 18-pound tumor. We know it's cancer of some kind. We're not even sure what it is. Go through the Whipple surgery, complete Hail Mary, come out of that alive, spend the better part of the month leading up to Christmas in the hospital. I remember distinctly I had my surgery right after Thanksgiving, and that was important because I had to have Thanksgiving dinner. That was like, I've got to have Thanksgiving dinner. So I had it the Monday after Thanksgiving. I remember having like some drinks with friends. Black Friday is our big tradition downtown Brighton, our little bar crawl. And I remember, I remember that being a very surreal night, knowing that I had a real major surgery coming up on Monday, and not knowing deep down if I was going to see those people again or not. And that, kind of that wonder, looking back is really freaky, now to kind of think about that. Halfway through the hospital stay, I took a turn for the worst, and my stomach wasn't digesting food, and they had to put some things that they had removed from me back in. And so that was like a big disheartening thing to have, like more stuff put back in you when you thought that you were being detached from things. And that was a big throw emotionally. And I remember the nurse saying, you need to bring your son in so he can see him and get a little bit more of that fight back. And when they did that, that was kind of a turning point for the positive for me. And that reinforced from that moment all the way to today that no matter what happened, there was no option of me not surviving. There was no option of my son growing up in this world without a dad. That just was never an option. So I didn't allow myself to dwell on things for more than a minute at a time. If I had a breakdown emotionally, it was, go through that emotion for those 5 minutes, get through it, and then move forward. Don't feel sorry for yourself. Don't have a bad day. Don't let that hour turn to 12 hours, 12 hours turn to days, days turn to weeks. And it's so easy to do and let things just kind of steamroll. But I really was very diligent and very adamant, even to those around me too, like, don't let me sit around and just feel sorry for myself, because that's not who I am, no matter how much time I have left. We then traveled to Mayo Clinic in Jacksonville as well for a consultation, and at each stop, although it wasn't the end-all treatment that ended up saving my life, each one bought me a little bit of time. And looking back, a lot of those steps were very frustrating because we weren't getting the treatments that we were after, or at least the treatments that we thought we needed, or I thought we needed, but each one bought me time. And eventually that time bought me the end result of full remission, which is where I'm at today. I'm now 2 years in remission, going on 3 this January, and now have, not only my beautiful firstborn son is almost 6 years old, but I have twins that are 2 years old, and it's just, it's such a cool, full circle look on life of, we don't know where life's even gonna go, if there isn't even gonna be a life for you, to we're trying to now fully live life and, really take advantage of this second chance that I've received. Yeah, going through cancer is, it's quite the journey, and, unfortunately so many people are impacted by this terrible disease, both personally or a loved one. It's really taught me to be that close to death and understand that life has limitations, and I think that we all kind of know that, but it's not really brought to the forefront. So to have that reality really set in and brought to your every moment of every day, in the beginning of the day, the last thing you think of in the day, every time you look in your loved one's eyes, you're thinking, is this the last day I'll see them? Is this the last time I'll experience X? Is this the last time I'll do Y? It really just puts a whole new perspective on what's truly important while we're here. It really just put a whole new perspective of things aren't important. Your mark on this world is, and the type of legacy you leave behind for your family and others to follow, and how can you use your own story to help drive hope in other people? How can you use your story to inspire others? And that was what really started to motivate me, was people reaching out, community members reaching out, other people in hopeless situations reaching out saying, how do you keep such a positive perspective? How do you do this? How do you do that? And, especially looking back now, and that doesn't mean that every day was sunshine and roses, because there were really bad days in there, and, a lot of them, but it's just important to experience that emotion in its raw capacity and then move forward and grow from it, and not get wrapped up in all the negativity that is everywhere around us. Where there's numerous others who have gone through tragic events and their loved ones are no longer here to tell their story. So embrace your moment, embrace your life, make the most of every day, and how can that positively impact another life? That's why I'm here. Well, to me, Pink Week isn't breast cancer. Pink Week isn't even just the people impacted by cancer. It's everyone banding together for a cause, and to me, pink, even just pink in general, kind of represents a lot of the cancers, because breast cancer happens to be one of the more, widely known ones, and unfortunately one of the more common ones that people receive. So, I think Pink Week just kind of helps bring more awareness to cancer everywhere. It helps people celebrate the loss of loved ones, help them celebrate the lives, the battles, the survival, the, kind of the whole thing, with one good emotional response going forward. And it's just a positive week for everybody to band together for one cause, for people young, old, and everything in between, and just enjoy themselves, to try to instill hope for anyone that is battling, has battled, has lost, is winning, will win, will lose, because it's just much like this community, Pink Week just bands everybody together because every single person has been impacted in some way by this disease. Big thing for me is this community, through my battle, helped raise upwards of $200,000 for my family and I. And we are so blessed to even be here. Our insurance was very limited. We were unable to do almost anything that I needed to do to seek out help. And you know, I've started a charity called Fund a Life with exactly that same mission, but with a broad scope to help people facing major life-altering circumstances of all kinds. So it could be cancer, and a lot of them are, unfortunately, but it could be anything that life throws you off course and it kicks you when you're down, and you need that little beacon of hope to pick you back up, to show you that, you know, things aren't all bad. They need one win, you know, in all the losses, they need one win, and that one win can surge them on a whole different trajectory to their life. And that's what we try to do for other people. So I think it's important for anybody that's going through some kind of a huge obstacle in their life, some kind of life-altering circumstance of their own kind, to find that one thing of hope that's going to drive them, that one thing to latch on to help you get through your days. And for me, it was really easy. For me, it was God had a plan for me. The timing of Gabriel coming into this world was not coincidental. The timing of my diagnosis was not coincidental. And him being born 2 weeks before a diagnosis was exactly what I needed, exactly when I needed it. And you know, he is a huge part of why I'm here today. And I tell him that. How often do I tell you that? That you're my Superman. You help Daddy do what? What'd you help Daddy do?
From the life.
No, look at the cameras. What'd you help Daddy do? Beat what?
Beat his cancer.
Beat his cancer, right?
Because Daddy didn't want a son without a dad.
That's what I'm talking about, right? It wasn't an option.
Mm-hmm.
Good
Dad
job.
just had to get through it.